All right, welcome back to the show. And unfortunately, the sun did rise here the last few days in the great Cyclone State. It's September 8th. I'm Nathan Creeps, joined by my fellow Cyclone podcaster, Bryce Borscheller. Yo, how about them clones?
Cyclone Nation.
Everybody thought we're Hawkeye fans. Fool. We've been covering up for the last 30 years of our life, and we broke out this last weekend, and we are officially on the Ames bandwagon.
Nate, we talked last week a little bit about how CyHawk Week is so it's a mixed bag for you. It's a hard week. A lot of times you said you would go ghost mode. You would completely turn social media off. How are you faring? How do you feel? What's your general takeaway from the weekend, last week, everything?
You know what? I'm better than I thought I would be. At one point, I didn't want the sun to rise, and it did, and you kind of just move on from it. And the week leading up to CyHawk is terrible. It's the worst week of my life. But once you get through the game, you accept the loss, the winner of the loss, you can finally just move on from it. Put that in the past. Put Iowa State back into the Big 12. Put Iowa back into the Big 10 conference, and attack the rest of the season. What's in front of you? This is a healing step, and I'd rather, unfortunately, obviously I want to win, but I'm doing better than I was last Thursday. There's no doubt about it.
Good. There's so much hype. I love it. I love hyping up the game. I love how intense everyone gets and the shit talking. Yeah, I mean, you get bragging rights for a year. I know that the CyHawk series is more than just the football game, but I would say, 95% of the weight of the CyHawk series is controlled by the football game. And I love it. I love the lead up to it. The game is always intense. To me, I felt like this was one of the better played CyHawks in a few years, and I had a lot of fun. It didn't fall our way. Obviously, this is kind of a little bit of a troll by us, but I think it's well deserved. This is a legitimate Cyclone team with a favorable schedule, and we'll get into more football later. But I'm glad to hear you're doing okay, and we keep on going on.
Yeah, football aside, it's just special to see how much this rivalry has grown. That's with all respect to Iowa State's program becoming a legitimate program and bringing more spotlight to this game. You got Barstool Sports coming, Dave Portnoy, Fox.
Yeah.
College Game Day was there 2 times in the last 5 years. So the entire nation is putting their eyes on it, and unfortunately, it's when Iowa starts sucking up the series when the rest of the country has to continue to watch this terrible offense move the football. But yeah, we'll dive later into it. Other than that, my weekend I had a pretty good weekend. How about you?
It was good. It was pretty chill. We did get together with a group of mixed bag Cyclone and Hawkeye fans for the game, and then we hit the bar scene after. Kind of like back to our roots a little bit. Felt like we turned the clock back like 5 or 10 years, and we went out in downtown. I guess not even downtown Des Moines. It was more like Urbandale. So that was fun. And then football is back on Sundays. My boys play tonight.
Yes.
Against the Chicago Bears in Soldier Field. So I'm really looking forward to that. I will make a prediction at the end of the episode. But yeah, a lot of football, and it's just good to have that fall feeling. And I think we're going to get into some weather here in a second, and it does look like it's heating back up. But for this last weekend, it felt like we were just in the middle of fall.
Yeah, the weather was awesome. Absolutely beautiful. Sweater weather. My favorite season. Yeah. I brag about fall weather all the time. So I was living my best life while I was living my worst life at the same time, resulting to the game. What bar did you guys go to in Urbandale?
So we started at Cathley's, right next to where Ben lives. Ben moved to a townhouse just 5 minutes away from Urbandale School District where he teaches, and he hosted the party. We quickly realized that was a terrible choice, and we quickly called up some people. Hey, like, what's a good place to go around here? We have to leave like immediately. The women feel unsafe. It was that kind of a bad choice.
Really?
Yeah. So we found the Plaza Pub over in almost Beaverdale. And then we did finish our night in the Beaverdale area, Dam Pub and Beaver Tap, for those that are familiar with the Des Moines area. Nate, neither of us went to tailgate. I think maybe for the better, you were distracted a little bit on Saturday. What were you up to?
Yeah, we had the brother-in-law's engagement party. Him and his fiancee Savannah will be getting married in Colorado next year. So
nice.
We're having an engagement party back here in Iowa, or for a lot of people who can't attend down in Colorado were able to make this trip at the family farm that you've been to.
Nice.
And we had over, I think, about 140 some people there total.
Holy moly.
So it's a big, their family, when they put on parties, they
do it right.
out.
That's huge.
They always show out. and my brother-in-law Jaden brought in Starbucks catered from Waterloo.
Yeah.
Mr. Jeff Starbeck himself was present up in New Hampton, dropping off the food, and it was awesome. The food was absolutely delicious. But the problem here is that we ran out of food, and
Oh
he spent
no.
over $2,000 on this food for, and we're like, what in the hell? How do we run out of food? And so, unfortunately, a lot of people didn't get to eat, and they're running in
Oh no.
town, grabbing like McDonald's and all that stuff. So Jade, obviously, we're really bummed up about it because the food was all you had green beans, the barbecue pulled brisket, oh, so
Hmm.
good. Macaroni, the Starbucks macaroni,
Hmm.
and then
Oh yeah.
unlimited cornbread. We know the best part of the Starbucks meal. And so it is what it is. You ran out of food, and the party's over. There's few people who ended up camping up at the farm, and we're having a campfire. And I said, "Hey, I'm going to go to the shed. Does anybody need anything?" So I was walking up, and Jaden's like, well, "Check that big red cooler thing that was sitting out by the shed." He's like, "What was in that thing?" And I'm like, "Okay, you know what? What the hell is it?" And I go up to this thing. This is at like 12:30 at night, midnight, and I go up to the red cooler and I unlatch it. And the second I open, I feel this blast of heat hit me, and you knew right there I found the end of the rainbow on the second half of the food. All
Oh
the food.
no.
So we're talking like $1,000 of food. This set
So like you didn't have half the food to feed
no,
the people
and I
and you
have half.
found it.
We found
Oh man.
half the food later, and
Brutal.
for people who don't know, like they live out in the middle of nowhere, so people had to drive in the town and go grab food. So I mean, it's a little bit of an inconvenience, and honestly, pay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're familiar with Northeast Iowa, New Hampton area, there's not a lot of options.
Oh,
I got my first taste of it going up for your 30th birthday party in May, and I couldn't believe how little options there were. So that's tough. In fact, tell me if I'm wrong, but pub at the Pinnakin and like Quick Star are probably your best options.
yeah, or McDonald's.
Yeah, or McDonald's. There's not a lot up there. That's unfortunate.
Uh huh.
That sucks.
But for the time being, I was happy. I'm like, damn, I'm about to eat well tonight. So the remainder of us
Yeah.
there, which was like 8 or 10 people, we put down a lot of food, and then we were able to save the rest of it, right? So we ate it all day next day, and now I was able to bring a crap ton home. So I'll be eating it basically all week again till Las Vegas. So I mean,
Not all bad, I
it
guess.
it worked out well for me, but I feel bad for Jaden who did everything. He's very good at coordinating, planning weddings and all sorts
Yeah.
of events and parties, and he was prepared. We just didn't know where the food was. It was never relayed to us where the extra food would be. And the funny part is, Bryce, out of nowhere and during the middle of the day, a rainstorm came out and hit us. So you had 100 plus people grabbing all the material from outside. That's where we were all partying out and moving to the machine shed, and everything was grabbed but that red cooler sitting next to the machine shed. And
Uh,
if somebody just would have touched it, you
yeah, they
probably
would have
would have
known.
known there was something
Hmm.
in there. But it was just sitting there. We didn't. No one thought of it. I can't believe no one thought to even check it. I think what
Dang.
we thought it was the food that was already out on the table. I thought when that was done, you put the containers into the red, like big
Yeah.
cooler thing. So
Yeah.
we just didn't know there was extra food already in it. So
Damn. So the
yeah,
food thing was kind of a little bit of a hiccup, but overall a good engagement party.
yeah, it was beautiful. The storm, it was a little chilly, you know.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously after the Iowa State game, I had to go take a nap and soak my depression in for an hour, 2 hours before I decided socializing. And well, the worst part about it was, yeah, Iowa lost, but I knew I had to eat the world's hottest chip coming up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll circle back to that. And what I'd like to do is honor this bet to Mason. We had at least a shotgun of the opposing team's NIL beer on the line, and then unfortunately, you also volunteered yourself for the world's hottest chip if Iowa lost, and they did. And so, what are you thinking? Do you want to do it live on the show? Do you want to do it at a separate time? We can always cut it in.
Yeah, we'll
It's up
we'll
to you.
we'll do it at the show sometime next week. We'll decide how we want to cut it up, but I'm going to do the chip and shotgun at the same time. I
Okay,
think it might help out with the chip a little bit. So sorry for anyone who's waiting for the habit this week. I had too
you got
much
to
faith
wait
in
for
the
the.
Hawks, so I got to wait for the chip to arrive. The chip has been purchased; it's on its way now, and luckily for you guys, you guys get to see us do it post Vegas. So when our body's already going to be in some of the worst shape of its life, I get to pit the world's hottest chip in my body.
Yeah, I guess we have that to look forward to too on Thursday night. I think your Thursday morning, we're going to Vegas.
Viva!
Las
Viva!
Vegas.
Las Vegas!
I don't know what to expect. I've never been. So it'll be my very first time. And I think it's the right amount of time, Thursday night through Sunday night.
Yes. Yeah, you don't want to do any longer than that. There's no doubt about it. And have you seen the weather for it?
I just looked it up this morning. It looks like it's going to be nice and toasty for us.
That's not, no, last time I checked, it's supposed to be like 85 degrees every day.
Oh,
Right?
really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I checked yesterday, unless it's
I
something
think
exactly changed. I hope not.
I think 90 for the actual wedding day, but I think you're right, like mid 80s.
That's
And then it's what's funny is it's almost going to be warmer here.
that's when you think of Las Vegas in September, you get mid 80s. That's spectacular weather for Las Vegas, right? The humidity, there's no humidity down there, so
Oh,
it's dry
true.
heat.
Yeah, it'll be
And
dry.
mid 80s is golden. Yesterday was 100 degrees there, and that's what it typically is during this time of year. So we're getting prime time Las Vegas weather, which is a huge success before we even head down there.
I'm pumped for it. We got hopefully some big news to share from Jeremy Young's camp next week. We've got brand new crap skills, which I'm really excited to use.
Yep.
And then potentially, if we can rally the troops, we want to do a massive wager on red or black that very first night to kickstart that bachelor party.
Yep, that's exactly what
Lot
we're
to
going
look
to
forward
do.
to.
What else we got? I mean, I'm pumped. You know, this Vegas trip couldn't have come at a better time with Iowa losing. I can get the hell
Yeah, you
out
got to
of the
get
state.
out of this state.
Get away
I
from
don't know. It's going to be a really busy September. I'm honestly, it's hard for me to even look past this Vikings game tonight. I really want to know what my boy JJ McCarthy's going to do.
Yep.
I fully expect Iowa to come back and destroy UMass. I think Iowa State well on their way to aside from TCU and Arizona State, I think they could be a college football playoff team. What else we got to look forward to? What else is going on?
Just Vegas. I ain't worried about anything.
Yeah,
I'm worried
I
about surviving Vegas. Last time we were there for Jeremy's 21st birthday party, which we were there for 5-6 days. It's a long time.
It's a long time to be there.
So we're going to be there for 3 nights. You're flying out to Thursday night?
Yeah, Des Moines to Las Vegas Thursday night. So
Okay.
we'll be there, I think, at like 7:38. Probably be ready to rock and roll by 9.
You might have to let us know if you have room for some people at your place Wednesday night.
Oh yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys gonna fly out of Des Moines?
Yeah, we're flying out of Des Moines. We tried flying out
Okay.
of Cedar Rapids, but the price and times were kind of ridiculous. So we're getting out of Des Moines.
Yeah.
My brother, his fiance, my wife, and Ben and I will be flying out at the same time. So that'll be fun.
Yeah. We got room over here, and we'll be doing laundry and packing up ourselves, so it'll be perfect.
Okay. All right, cool. Looking forward to that. That'll be a little pregame before we head to the Vegas. Yeah, just looking forward to get out there and having a good time and moving on with life.
Yeah. Well, we already kind of brought it up. I mean, Vegas is going to be really, really nice weather-wise. Iowa had fall for like the last week, but now it looks like we're heating back up.
Yep, Bryce, September 8th. Let's check in the weather records here for Waterloo, Iowa. We got a high of only 77 degrees today, but it looks like as the week progresses, so will the temperature. Weather records for. Oh, hold on. Oh, great. Give me 1 second so I get this bad boy booted up here. Okay, here we go. Weather records for Waterloo, Iowa, September 8th. 1933. It's good to see we're right back in the 1930, 1940 area. The high was recorded at 99 degrees. Record low, 35 degrees, set in 1986. We got an average high of about 54 degrees. And, well, never mind. That's the lowest daily high. So, highest, whatever. Move on from that. Our highest precipitation is 2.65 inches, recorded in 1964. And our average high is 78 degrees Fahrenheit. So, we're ticking, baby. We're ticking towards that fall weather. You know, honestly, we felt it just last week. We're going to get a little summer, last hit from summer maybe this week.
Yep. There's always that third summer. Some people used to call it Indian summer. I don't think that's allowed anymore. There's always that little sneak peek fall, and then you get the, hey, we're still in summer from Mother Nature. Yeah.
Hopefully get some rain. My yard needs it.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe that you guys got rain again on Saturday because we were once again bone dry. We've had a little bit, but it's not good here.
No, yeah, my yard's. I got the sprinkler running right now, and that's helping. But my water bill is gonna be a little high because I can't use my sprinkler up here.
I did see the first signs of sprinkler use in our neighborhood again. Obviously, like a couple weeks ago, they finally told us that the nitrate levels are good enough that the Des Moines Water Works can keep up with the filtration. So we're kind of back to sprinkler use, but I feel like they're
Yeah, but
still like
you're also at this point.
marginalized.
You're at this point of the season where people are kind of giving up on their lawns.
I would
You
think
know,
so too.
you
And
know.
I've told you my feelings on it. I would rather just let the lawn do what Mother Nature's doing. Like I
Uh-huh.
don't need a perfectly manicured lawn. But hey, that's just me. That's one man's opinion.
Yeah, I'm putting one last push in it, and after this, I'll give up on it. Just I want to get at least one or two mows in before the end of the year. I like fall mowing.
Yep.
Gives me a little break from life and just getting on that lawnmower, that John Deere,
Oh
just
yeah.
driving around. Bryce, September 8th history in Iowa is not too eventful because we only have two things here. September 8th, 1918, Mason City Junior College, the first public 2-year college in the state of Iowa, started classes. Monumental day. Okay. Today, it is now known as North Iowa Community College.
We had so many like major events happen on Mondays. You knew eventually we were going to run into one of these days, but hey, I mean, that's something. Like,
And then for our farmers, they're going to get pretty pumped up about this one because in September 8th, 1923, Iowa native Henry A. Wallace developed the first high yielding hybrid seed corn called the Copper Cross, which marked a turning point of agriculture productivity and crop resilience. Bryce Wallace was a 16-year-old high school student when he first began experimenting with corn, as he later graduated from Iowa State University in 1910 and intensified his fieldwork before his 1923 breakthrough.
16 years old playing around with corn. That's crazy. Good for this guy. And of course, Iowa State roots run
Yep,
really
makes
deep
sense.
in agriculture. So that's awesome to see. I can't get over the fact he was 16 years old
People, these
making
guys,
breakthroughs.
these guys were different back in the day. They weren't worried about their podcasts on
Yeah,
Mondays.
well, dude, at 16 it was worse. I was probably playing like Grand Theft Auto or something.
Oh
But
my God, yeah, these
thank
guys
you
were
for the Copper Cross.
right. These guys were, yeah, no kidding. These guys were changing the lives of every farmer here in the state of Iowa. So thank you, Henry Wallace, for your research breakthrough. Appreciate it. And kind of the same thing with Iowa news this week. CyHawk really does is kind of absorb all the headlines. People try to they absorbs all the hot headlines leading up to it and kind of the week after it. But as we all know, the national headline was a $1.8 billion Powerball that was finally claimed, and which I believe was claimed in Texas and Missouri. But Bryce, they're not the only ones who got a little dipped their toes in some of that money
We got some
because
Iowa winners.
we got some Iowa winners who collectively took home $560,000 throughout the state. Two
Nice.
Iowans came especially close, matching all but one number. They fell just short of the jackpot, but still walked away with $50,000 each, which is absolutely nothing to what that one number could have got them. And that sucks because we need that. We needed that to go to an Iowa and Iowa State fan who could pour that money back into our school systems for NIL so we can compete at the national level.
If you
That's
won
what
the
we need.
lottery, is that the first thing you would do?
Would it be the first? It'd be one of the first things I would do. There's no doubt about it. It
Like
depends
part
how
of
much.
your first couple million, it would be.
Yeah, it'd go straight to Iowa athletics. Make sure I
Hmm.
have courtside seats uh, for basketball, maybe press box seats for football, and a better tailgating spot. And I'm like, hey, I want to give you $1 million at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't. I think that's a great use of your dollars because either way, that money's getting taxed. I think if you make that donation, you're already helping your tax implication too.
Mhm.
Man, one number off. I can only imagine what that feels like. I'm not a
Uh,
huge. I think maybe I've mentioned this before. I know we've talked about it like off air, but I'm not a big lottery ticket guy. I almost. I want to say I've done less than 10 scratchers in my life, and I've never bought a lottery ticket.
really?
Really?
I think I've only bought one lottery ticket in my life. I've done 1 million scratchers. Um, I always imagine myself winning the lottery, but I can't do it unless if I buy a lottery ticket, and I end up never buying the freaking lottery ticket,
Yeah.
which sucks.
It's like, oh, if we win the lottery, it's like, yeah, but you have to enter the lottery. So I'm
Uh,
not even giving myself a chance.
no, yeah, because I told you about my coworker who won $2 million. Yeah, my old coworker.
What?
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. this is before he worked there, but he was interviewing for the job. My boss was like, "Yo, what's this 10-year gap on your resume?" He's like, "Oh, I won the lottery. I won $2 million." Yeah.
Oh my god.
He said
So
he
now you
said he,
know.
he didn't even know he won it. He whatever got his ticket, and the next day he went to that same gas station, and the clerk's like, she was shaking. She's like, "You're the winner." He's like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You won the lottery." He's like, "What?" Then he found out. He's like, "Holy shit!" Quit his job that day, drove to Des Moines, collected his $2 million.
That's crazy.
Uh-huh.
You might have told me that story before, but I don't remember it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, looked it up. I'm like, holy shit, yeah. So imagine the feeling. Bought himself a lake house, paid off his parents' mortgage, and he did a cool thing without. He took a lump sum, and then every year for the rest of his life, he'll get $30,000 too.
Yeah, I love that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a smart way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna wonder like what's the best way? I know that there's all kinds of people giving advice about this kind of stuff to lottery winners, but what is the best way to navigate a massive win in the lottery?
That's probably the best way. Take your lump
It's got to
sum
be.
and get some residuals for the rest of your life. And that was only $2 million. Imagine if you won $1.8 billion. You don't have to. It doesn't matter what you do. You're
Yeah,
chilling.
at that point, I mean,
Yeah.
if you live like a normal person, I'm not good. Like, I'm good at spending like a little bit of money. I'm not good at spending a ton of money. Like, I don't want anything that bad.
No, I want like a lake house in Miami or something.
Yeah.
That's what I would want. And I would
Mhm.
go to a shit ton of football games. I'd probably get myself like season tickets to an NFL game, like of the Vikings or the Packers too, and
Mhm.
just professionally just go to all these footballs and just watch football. Hopefully somehow make it my full time job.
So
That's
even
what I
like that Miami house, like speaking of Big Noon Kickoff and Dave Portnoy and all those guys showing up to Ames this last weekend, Portnoy is a good example of that. He just built like a $20 million house in Miami, like mansion, right? Huge. That's 20 million of your 1.5 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where does the rest? Like, what do you do with it?
I don't know. They have
It's crazy.
some people just have so much money. I don't know what you do with it. Buy property. That's probably
I'm
what you
sure.
get. Yeah, buy property.
Yeah, and once you're in those rich circles, I'm sure they find all kinds of ways for you to spend it. But
Yeah.
just a simple Iowa guy like me, I don't even know.
Well, we've been avoiding as much as we possibly can. Let's dive into the CyHawk game. Before we do the deep dive, my quick overall thought was Iowa. The game went Iowa's way. It went
Hmm.
Iowa game plan. Iowa slow, ugly, grinding out football. But the difference is Iowa State has the special teams where they can capitalize on these huge
Yeah,
plays and make 54-yarders because Conradi is now the official Iowa Slayer, and this guy
yeah.
is in my nightmares.
Back-to-back 54-yard field goals to end any hopes of Iowa being a Hawkeye State. It's disappointing. Yeah, I would agree. I actually thought I loved the way that everything played out. I think I was a little nervous at first. I definitely thought Iowa State was going to do what they had been doing the first couple of weeks, but move the ball at will. They scored early, and then it looked like we settled down a little bit. I don't know what your takeaway is on like Iowa's offense and that last possession, but I felt like in general I saw like a little bit of growth from Gronowski. Like definitely that first drive of the second half where we used maybe 8 minutes of the quarter. I saw flashes of what maybe a Gronowski and Tim Lester pairing could look like, and that's methodical, a little bit more confidence. You're using his legs, but also he's getting pass protection and time to throw to a marginal receiving group. There was plenty of things to be excited about as a Hawkeye. Obviously, like you're going to get a ton of people saying, fire Kirk, we can't beat Iowa State, the program's going in the wrong direction. But if I'm being optimistic, I actually didn't mind the way that this game played out.
No, like I said, it went the way you would want Iowa football to go in a game against Iowa State. Obviously, offense has to get better. I'm sick of
Mm-hmm.
saying it. There's no doubt about it. Gronowski, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of
Mm-hmm.
him. I'm no problems with Gronowski. He had an interception, yeah, sure, but Caden Weegan slipped on that play. Still wasn't a
Yep.
great option to throw to Caden Weegan. I think if Caden Weegan doesn't slip, it's a pass breakup. That
Yeah.
interception ultimately led to the only touchdown for Iowa State, and that is a pat on the back to Iowa's defense, who played awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Really only gave up 3 field goals, and it should have been 2 field goals. But Iowa State's kicker is a hell of a kicker.
Yeah.
They're lethal from almost anywhere inside the 60-yard line. I mean, hell, he made a 63-yarder the week prior. So Iowa's defense was good. Now we need to get an interception a game.
Mm-hmm.
because when your offense only gets one or two good drives throughout the majority of the game, the
You need
defense really
short
needs
field.
you need
You need
short
those
field.
momentum plays, and it's been that way for at least 5 years, if not longer, where the defense sparks the scoring runs. Right, like we have led the nation in defensive scoring for a ton of years, and we're going to need it this year. Frankly, like I saw enough on that last possession that we don't have play calls that can get us a
No,
quick touchdown.
that was the
Like even
worst
in the
2 minute
moments when you need
stretch,
them.
worst 2 minute I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It outside of Gronowski's entire game, I liked it. Besides this 2 minute stretch, you got to get out of the pocket. You cannot take 2 sacks back to back
No.
in a 2 minute stretch. Well, all you need is a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of the ball, get out of the pocket, make something happen. You're a mobile quarterback. You're a
Yeah.
leader. Okay, that's my only butts I had with them. But that I'm not blaming everything on him. It's still Kirk Ferentz's offense. You
Mm-hmm.
almost knew it when in a 2 minute desperation situation like that, you were screwed. There's no way we're going to push this ball down the field. We need 8 minutes to get the ball down the field, let alone
Nate,
2 minutes.
you replied to Ray Gronowski, I believe Mark
Yep.
Gronowski's dad, and you said, "In Mark we trust, in Kirk we don't." And I have my interpretation of what that means. What does that mean to you?
I saw growth from Mark Gronowski. Uh, I believe him as an athlete. I do. Sure, it's not as sexy as everybody wanted him to be right away, but a lot of that is due to the offensive system he's put into.
Mm-hmm.
Under Kirk Ferentz. Yeah, sure, Tim Lester's got the keys, but all with Kirk Ferentz over his back, and your ceiling is only as high as Kirk Ferentz wants it to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to me one, I agree, and I think even more so, it's a personnel issue. I don't think I've seen a legitimate um, NFL talent on offense, even at tight end. Definitely not receiver, but even at tight end these days. Like, what do we want Mark Gronowski to do? He's throwing to Jacob Gill. Vanderzee's out. I mean, Estrenga has a mystery injury falling on his back. I
He
don't even
dropped
know
a
what
wide
happened to
open
his.
6 yard dump pass
Yeah, like we don't
earlier.
have. I don't know what we want Gronowski to do. To me, it does fall on Kirk, and it's a lot more of like we haven't evolved the offensive game to fit what needs to happen here. And frankly, I also don't think on the defensive end we have that star linebacker or that star pass rusher. There was always something. There was one redeeming quality for Iowa, and I don't see that in this team.
We
And
just
to me, that
we
does fall on Kirk. It's a recruiting issue.
It is. God, who wants to be a receiver or a big time quarterback and come to Iowa? You're ruining your potential career. You ruin your NIL earnings. You ruin your post college career that can ultimately go to NFL. Why would you not go to Iowa State versus Iowa as a dynamic playmaker on the offensive side? We just don't have weapons to push the ball down the field at will. When so sick of tiring of watching all these mid-major college teams or even a bad SEC team or bad Big Ten team push the ball down the field like it's nothing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just we feel so clustered and so tight and nervous. It's tough to watch, and
It is hard to watch.
you got to take it with a grain of salt because it is Iowa State game. And that's why I hate this game. Players, each team doesn't play up to their capability. It's just a tight feeling game. Nobody
Yeah.
ever feels comfortable with it. You can't let loose. I'd rather play the number one team in the country, and I feel more confident about how we might be able to move the ball versus Iowa State because the the play calling's held back. Uh, Players are scared to make the big play because they're scared of turning the ball over, which
Mm-hmm.
ultimately this game does come down to turnovers like that. But it's a weird game, but still, I don't know. I hate it. I hate this game. I hate this
I think
week.
you're right. I think we'll see less apprehension play
I do.
calling against Penn State and Oregon and USC and Nebraska
No
than we
doubt.
did against
There's no
Cyhawk.
doubt. There's
And
absolutely
granted, those games
no
are
doubt.
later in the season. Everyone gets more comfortable, but I do
Uh-huh.
think that like this game meaning so much early in the season, you close the playbook, you go conservative. And here's what I want to say. And I'm wearing the Cyclone shirt, and so I want to move over to that side of the ball. I think Matt Campbell did exactly what we said he couldn't do, and that is adjust to Kirk Ferentz football.
He did.
He
Yeah,
he played the game that needed to be played that day. And I think we might have actually seen Matt Campbell and the Cyclones take a forward step in the fact that they can play whatever game needs to be played against the Hawkeyes. Because for so long, Kirk has dominated this series because he dictates tempo. And he did it again today. But Campbell didn't get flustered. He's like, we'll stay patient. will not make errors and will stay in the game because we have this kicker in Conradi who can end the game when we're only at midfield. So I think, to me, the biggest takeaway is that Matt Campbell has evolved as a coach, and the Cyclones are taking a forward step. I've already mentioned it. I think that they have the most favorable schedule of any top 15 team, and they are well on their way if they don't get in their own way to making the college football playoff.
Hey, Bryce,
And we kept saying that last year, and I was kind of just trying to be a hype man. I actually believe it this year.
Bryce, you absolutely nailed it on the head. Like I said, I know I keep saying weird game, but like Iowa's defense played really well.
Yeah.
And Iowa State wasn't out there to try to make huge plays. Obviously they don't have the playmakers like they did with um, Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins, where you could just lob the ball up and catch it. But Rocco made some great throws deep down the field where I think a receiver or two had a drop, where he
Yeah.
couldn't have hit the ball any better. And it was at that point in the game, like, well, we're going to have to kind of out Iowa here. And credit to Iowa State and Matt Campbell, who now built a dynasty in a sense of like a Big 12 powerhouse school where they can do that and they can get away with these elite special teams, a great quarterback playmaker who can control the game. And when you have as good as a quarterback as him, your receivers are going to evolve and they're going to get better as the season goes on. So one of the biggest wins in Matt Campbell's career.
Agreed. I totally also agree with the point you made. Like, Rocco was putting the ball in places where only the receivers could catch it. And had it been Higgins and Noel, they probably win by that 2 scores that we were worried about leading into this game. You did see a little bit of an exposure. Like, they don't have those receivers yet. I do think that Becht will make them better. Nate, I made I wouldn't say it's a troll. It was kind of an optimistic, trying to hype up Cyclone fandom tweet last week on the Iowa Chill channels that said, people are going to say I'm crazy, but with a good game and a W, Rocco Becht is a Heisman frontrunner. Is he a frontrunner? Truly, in my eyes, not yet. But you did finally see the odds. Like, you can actually bet on Rocco Becht 50-1 odds to win the Heisman. I think with the way things are going, he has a legitimate chance to be at the top 10.
Yeah, especially in the Big 12. It's no dog in the Big 12. It's just a lot more stats happen in the Big 12. But he also plays for a proud program like Iowa State. And like I said earlier on another episode, if you're playing for like a Miami or someone who just doesn't give a shit, who's all about stat packing, he was standing even a better chance, right? And you're going to have one of those quarterbacks out there where they're up 30 and they continue to throw the ball. Iowa State won't do that. But if you put him in the right situation, I mean, not saying he's in a great situation in Iowa State, but you put a more cocky type program, then there's no doubt he would definitely be a front runner.
Either way you slice it for the Cyclones, you got to be excited. I think you've got everything to be pumped about. You own the CyHawk Trophy again for another year, likely. I mean, I know that it's not just the football game. I'm trying to remember that, but you have bragging rights for another year. You've got a favorable schedule, and you've got, I think, one of the best quarterback talents in the nation. Even if it's not with arm and legs, you got the mentality of a winner, and that's really exciting.
He made the plays when he needed to, and that's what we've said every week so far. It might not have been pretty the entire game at points, but he made those great passes that were some dropped and never forced anything to give an Iowa a chance regain momentum throughout the game, and did just enough to get Iowa State that W, and that's all that matters in the CyHawk game. Iowa State, Bryce, moves to 3-0 for the second straight year. Now crawling up to number 14 in the rankings, and they get to host. No, not host. Now they get to travel to Foxborough or something like that. Arkansas State versus the Red Wolf or the Red Pack, wherever the hell they are, the Wolf Pack, and they open up as a 20.5 favorite.
Yeah, this is one of those games that Campbell was kind of complaining about. He's really frustrated with their scheduling, which is hilarious now that you look at the entirety of the Big 12. You don't have to face Oklahoma and Texas like you did in the old days. TCU did look good. They looked really good last week. So that's a red flag. Arizona State, but man, I mean, come on, Campbell. I know that you're trying to hype your boys up. There's no overlook games. There's you don't have these lag games in between Kansas State and Iowa. Go destroy these guys by 20. I'm not worried about Arkansas State.
No, I think they're what did I look up their record was? They're 1-1 or something like that. Maybe 0-2. I don't even know. They just lost to Arkansas 56-14. Sure, it might be a weird first quarter at most. I've seen enough from Iowa State where they held back a little this last week with the Iowa game. They're gonna let things fly down there in Arkansas, and they're gonna cook these guys.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw this, Nate, but Iowa State's opponents are not looking very good all of a sudden. Kansas State almost dropped if they didn't drop a game against Army.
Yeah, they almost lost to Army too. They almost lost to North Dakota last week as well.
Yep. So Kansas State did lose to Army. They almost lose to North Dakota State, and then South Dakota got upset by Lamoni. So all of a sudden, if Iowa loses 4 or 5 more games, to the date, the Cyclones have not had a significant win yet. So
yeah. Well, speaking of Iowa, no, go ahead.
You don't worry about that as a Cyclone fan. You just keep winning, but it is kind of funny.
Yeah. Yep. And Iowa has now gone 0-10 versus ranked opponents in the last 10, which is embarrassing. I mean, this program,
and it's not particularly close. Like, this is one of the closest games that we've had against a ranked opponent. Yeah. And
it was one year where we didn't even score a single point against a ranked team.
Was that 2023? I think I saw that graphic too.
We didn't score a single point that year
against Penn State and Ohio State. We have not scored a point in this decade.
No. We Caleb Johnson had a breakaway 50-yard touchdown last year against Ohio State.
Oh yeah.
Against the backup scrubs.
Thank God.
30-something, nothing.
Yeah.
Iowa hosts University of Massachusetts, and this is the dumbest shit ever. Stupid. It's terrible for Kirk Ferentz because instead of getting your 206 record-breaking win against Iowa State, your rival, you get to do it at night against UMass, who's 0-2. And they're saying that could be even worse than Albany. I hate this game. You just got the season kind of ramped up. You're trying to shake off this Iowa State loss, but you have to go play UMass. Stupid.
I'll say this. I'm glad that we're going to be in Vegas for it.
Thank God. That's what I said. We couldn't have picked a better week.
Truly the best week to not watch a ton of football. And I hope we still do. I think there's some pretty good games this weekend, but I have no interest in watching this game. I hope that we win by 45. I hope we see the guys get some excitement, some momentum. But yeah, to me, this is a non-event. If you don't win by 45, this is embarrassing.
I don't know. We'll slowly see Iowa keep getting a little bit better, but hey, if you can figure things out quickly, you have a great schedule ahead of you to make a lot of noise and put this game behind you. It will not matter if you can go out and get a W against, a Penn State or an Oregon and take care of business where you're supposed to be taking care of business.
Yep. After last week's game, I said I thought I'd seen enough to know that this team is a 7-5 team. I had Iowa State, Nebraska, Penn State, USC, and Oregon as those potential losses. We did lose to Iowa State. To me, now you got to win Nebraska and you got to win USC. And that gets you that 7-8 wins, but it's looking pretty dire. This is not even Wisconsin looks like they can do a little bit more than previous years. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'll defer to expert Hawkeyes and keep watching like the rest of us, but yeah.
I would usually say I'm pissed at this point. I'm more numb.
No.
I'm just numb. It's like, I don't even give a shit no more. What the hell? What the hell are we doing out there? I'm sick of watching this. Whatever.
Which is sometimes a fun place to be because then you can
it is. It is. I can just laugh at it kind of. So it is what it is. Which we'll see. Long season ahead for both teams here. Iowa State. It is a Cyclone State.
Yeah. Congrats to the Cyclones.